to the Squirrel Tale. On today's episode, I am going to kind of start a new series that I kind of started with the Brown, Bess, and Ferguson. But I'm going to take two historic firearms of an era, look at the pros and cons of both, and at the end, tell you which one I would personally have, and which one, if I was trying to arm a major military, which one I would want. In this case, I have now both these are replica Pietas. So, neither of these are actually originals, but this is a replica Remington 1858, and this is a replica LeMat. And this kind of similar to the Ferguson Brown Bess. You have a very limited number, well, not as limited as the Ferguson produced gun, compared to a highly produced for the era pistol. It was a very prominent weapon. There was like 300,000 or 3 million. I will put that number in the text. Versus only just under 3,000 of the LeMat. So, super common, super rare pistols here. And both these are from the Civil War. This one was used by, the LeMat revolver was used by several Confederate generals, Jeb Stuart, Beauregard. And the Remingtons were the second most common pistol in the Civil War, used by all sorts of people. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why not do this with a Colt? My answer is simple. I do not have a Colt, so I can't comment, but I have the Remington, and I've shot the Remington, so I figured that would be still an interesting comparison. So, the first thing I want to I'm first going to go through the features of both guns. So, the Remington, cap and ball. Both these are cap and ball, meaning you have a cylinder, ball goes in here, you cap this, it's loaded. So, it's a process, which I have a video on loading these, but when loaded, you have however many shots it holds. Single action, pull back the hammer each shot. And this one has a pretty standard loading lever where you can rotate to load. Now it has a pin, I'm not going to take it apart because I have trouble getting the cylinder back in, that you knock out, but that pin rotates on the cylinder, and the Remingtons have a solid frame, and then sights up top, and just a front blade. It is in 44 caliber, which is what the originals were. Pretty common. Now that one's stainless steel. The originals obviously weren't stainless. They would have been blued steel. But a very common, well-used revolver. Many of these were converted to cartridge guns later on. Made by Remington, one of the great American gun companies. This is the LeMat, and this was designed in the early 1850s. Just under 3,000 were produced. Now, again, cap and ball. This part of the thing would essentially function the same way. So, now what makes the LeMat notable is you have this barrel here. And that is a shotgun barrel. So, or it would be a smoothbore 20 gauge. I believe the originals were actually 16, and the originals were 16 in a 42 caliber. So you have a single shot shotgun, and the way that works is when you pull the hammer back, you can flip this tab down, and now instead of hitting one of your hammers on your cylinder, it'll make contact with that nipple, firing your shotgun barrel. And this is a 9-shot. The original was 42 caliber. When Pieta made their replica, they decided to go with 44. So it's a 44 9-shot. The reason being, they figured most people probably, and me included with this example, already had a cap and ball, if not multiple. And your Colts and your Remingtons are both 44 caliber, so you know, it makes it easy. You're not having to buy a mold or extra balls. You can more or less shoot with the same setup as you would with your 44. That's why they did that. And I think the same thing with the 20 gauge. It's easier to find 20 gauge fiber wads and stuff like that. So that's why they did that. But besides that, I have handled original LeMats, and which I was very fortunate to have done because they are an extremely rare firearm. And again, they're I will say the replica, it does feel like the real deal. So, and the loading lever is off to the side. They do that because of the shotgun barrel. If you see, that's the loading lever. And it also has this feature. Yeah, that's your main, for loading your main charges. This pulls out, and that provides a rod for loading your shot, which is, you know, very useful. So in comparing them, the first thing I want to show is how they handle. This gun is significantly heavier than that one. Now that's stainless steel, that could have a small effect, but there's a fairly, I would almost say this one's about 30% heavier. I will have in the text whether or not that's true. So the Remington's definitely a lighter firearm. Now, obviously both these are replicas, so how this stuff features, but I personally find the hand grip and the hammer to be easier to work on the LeMat than I do on the Remington. I feel like I'm stretching my hand more. I also find the grip on the LeMat to be a lot more convenient, again, for me. That, you know, everyone's hands are different sizes, so that can change, but in my, I would say grip, I like the LeMat better for myself. But the Remington's fine. It is heavier, and when you load it, it's going to be a lot heavier because you have 3 more shots, 3 more lead balls, and then the shotgun. I will say, I think the Remington balance is a little nicer. This is a little front heavy, but both handle okay. With the weight, though, I'm going to give a slight edge to the Remington on that category. Now, the next thing I want to discuss in comparing the two is sights. The Remington has, like I showed before, a fixed sight. So that's kind of nice. You're not, compared to the LeMat, has a notch on the hammer. So to get a sight picture, it has to be fully cocked. This is more or less identical to how the Colts are. Which a lot of people don't like that. After shooting it, I don't have a major issue with it, but I'm sure for bullseye shooting, these sights would be a little better, but I think the LeMat sights, and same with the Colts, probably okay. For combat accuracy. Now, caveat here, I've never been in a gunfight, so I'm just a redneck who likes guns in history, redneck history nerd. So take what I say with a grain of salt. I'm not like an expert on what I'd win a gunfight, I will say on this one, the notch on the LeMat is kind of shallow. I'll see if I can get a sight picture in the camera. If you can kind of see that, it's a shallow notch, so it's not quite as much as I would have liked, but if I recall from the original, it had a tighter V, and that would be a quick fix with a diamond file if I so desired. See if I can get it. You can see with that, that's a nice fine sight picture. So I'm going to give sights a slight edge to the Remington. Again, both the sights and handling, that's a slight edge. In my opinion, I could go either way on these. I think they're both adequate. But I do know carrying this all day, that might be rough. Now, the next thing I'm going to discuss is cost of production. This is a pretty easy one. The Ferguson has more going on with the shotgun barrel and things like that. Also, they had these Remingtons were produced on a larger scale, which, it's not to say that wouldn't change if more of these were ordered, but I think being a simpler design with the Remington, I think the cost of manufacture would definitely fall on the Remington. Durability. Now, from what I've heard, and I can see this, the loading lever is very, a lot stronger on the Remington. I've heard other people talk about this. You can really load this all day long and not worried about breaking it. Hawk on it, if you have a tight ball, probably take a hunk of wood and beat on it. You'd probably be okay. It has, this style of frame. I mean, that style of frame to some degree is still used today. That it doesn't have an open top, so that's a more durable frame. So I would say durability falls upon the Remington. So far, the LeMat doesn't seem like it's going too well. Now to accuracy. Now this one's hard to say when it comes to accuracy because I'm really not sure. You'd almost have to shoot 2 originals because, you know, the mechanical accuracy would be the quality of build. So I'm guessing, being that the LeMat, the historical ones they were built by smaller shops and most of their target audience, now this is speculation, was officers and high-paying clientele. Probably more hand fitting was done to make this accurate or be a better gun, but that's speculation. You know, this was a factory gun. Again, entirely speculation. Both these, I think, accuracy-wise, I mean, I haven't heard any reports of them. When I shot them, they both shot fine. And I've also shot blued steel ones, not just the stainless steel. I mean, I think the sights, stuff like that, would have more of a play on it. But at pistol ranges, I think they would both do fine if you wanted to go try to... I would say if I wanted to go out long-range bullseye pistol shooting, I would probably pick the Remington because of the fixed sights. But I mean, mechanical accuracy, I don't really see a difference, so I'm going to call that one a draw. Now for the big one that I think you'll see, and that is firepower. That is a 100% pretty clear winner to the LeMat. This is a 6-shot. This is a 10-shot with the shotgun barrel. So that's 4 more shots. You know, now this isn't in the day of quick change magazines. I think if you're quick, probably 5 minutes to load one would be booking it. I mean, I'd like to see someone, there might be videos of someone like racing to load under the clock. So, I mean, to go into the fight with an extra 4 shots, I think is a major advantage compared to going in with 6. Something that I'm sure people are wondering and have speculated, if you've heard of the LeMat, is the actual effectiveness of the shotgun barrel. Now, when I fired it, and unfortunately due to a lost camera card, I do not have that footage. But the LeMat shotgun barrel, I shot about 10 paces. It kept all, like, I loaded with a handful of buckshot. It kept all the buckshot on the target on, like, a chest size, you know, like say roughly this big, roughly, size target. So if you had an enemy soldier aim midpoint and fired, you're getting most of the buckshot on them at that close range. It shot about a pattern. Most of them were like that. It had like 2 flyers. Now, I haven't found good data on the exact method of loading the shotgun, but that's something I want to do. And I would really like to do some testing, you know, with more research, maybe try to see if I can find an optimized buckshot pattern and see, while keeping within original methods, I want to see how effective it could have been. Or one thing possibly is, even at longer ranges, could you potentially wound maybe multiple people, maybe I don't know. I'm gonna start real close, like, in a room, like, range, like, 5 yards, and I might even take it out to 100 yards or till when I'm just getting nothing. At that range, though, I'll probably have a multiple targets set up. So I'm going to do that testing, and it'll again be putting up targets, taking them down range, big cardboard targets, and see what it does, and that'll be another fun video. So firepower is definitely a win for the LeMat. So slight edge on handling and sights to the Remington. Cost of production and durability are wins for the Remington. Accuracy is a tie. And firepower, the LeMat has that one. So a lot of you guys are thinking, oh, that's an easy choice. The Remington, it wins in most categories. And I said I'll divide this up into 2 categories. And I will give the win to the Remington if I'm trying to arm an armory. Like a large army. Logistically, the increase in durability and the lower manufacturing cost and the better handling, because like the lighter weight, I think it would be a better choice to issue out the ease of maintenance, because I would say a slightly less, I'd rather have any gun's better than a broken gun. So if you have this where it's going to consistently work, is a lot better than one that, if not maintained properly, becomes unusable in the field. Because now you have a crappy club, at that point, compared to a functioning firearm. So I think if I was arming a military in the Civil War and I had the choice between these 2 revolvers, I would probably go with the Remington. Now, myself personally, if I was gonna, go flying into a battle in this crazy hypothetical, I think I would pick the LeMat. Because I think I could handle the maintenance on it. As a machinist, I'm used to dealing with that finesse, being careful with the loading lever, and that's the one thing you're only going to be, and to me that extra firepower will increase my chances of getting out of whatever situation you might get yourself in, and would increase my chance of survival. Like, as long as I do the maintenance, the care, and to me the extra weight I think is a worth trade. Although if I carried them all day, which that would be an interesting experiment. I don't know if I could do it or not, but maybe that would change it. But I think if myself personally, I would go with the LeMat. So now comment below. Tell me what you think. Do you like the LeMat or the Remington better, or are you indifferent on the 2? So I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and have a good day.
Thanks for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe for more great content, and check out our Instagram page at @SquirrelTailShow.